Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, Louis in Augusta, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind adjust the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, Louis in Augusta.
On June 20, 1974, I was a supercomputer hacker, or a one-trick pony, that repeated the same miniature code repeatedly. My first supercomputer program sequentially solved a small system of equations of algebra. In the summer of 1974 and at age 19 in Oregon, United States, I lacked the mathematical maturity that I needed to use to invent a system of coupled, nonlinear, and time-dependent partial differential equations of modern calculus called Emeagwali's equations. I lacked the mathematical maturity that I needed to approximate those partial differential equations and to reduce them to a large system of equations of modern algebra. And I lacked the supercomputing maturity that I needed to solve those algebraic equations on processors and to synchronously email them across processors. Without the next 15 years of intellectual growth and maturity, I could not have theoretically and experimentally discovered the fastest computation that could be recorded via the massively parallel processing supercomputer and discovered that fastest computation back in 1974. But 15 years later, and on the 4th of July of 1989, I had grown from a 19-year-old supercomputer programmer to the wiser 34-year-old wizard that was in the news and that experimentally discovered how and why massively parallel processing makes new supercomputers fastest, and that was honored on postage stamps and honored for his contributions to developing the computer. Two of those postage stamps had the inscription, quote unquote, supercomputer genius. Back in the 1980s, I was the sole full-time programmer of the most massively parallel processing supercomputer ever built. The genius is the ordinary person that found the extraordinary in the ordinary. Each of my 65,536 processors was the slowest processor in the world. Each of my 1,048,576 email wires was akin to a short telegraph wire. I was compelled to experimentally discover the extraordinary massively parallel processing supercomputer and to experimentally discover that precursor to the modern supercomputer and to experimentally discover that new knowledge in the bowels of an ensemble of the slowest processors and email wires. On the 4th of July of 1989, I became the first person to see in the 16th dimension the new massively parallel processing supercomputer that was unseen in the 3rd dimension. I saw the never-before-seen supercomputer technology. I saw a new supercomputer, and I saw its technology by visualizing my ensemble of processor codes that I sent to each processor that was a member of my ensemble of 64 binary thousand processors, and visualizing it as a new internet instead of as a computer. I saw a new supercomputer, and I saw it by visualizing my 65,536 commodity off-the-shelf processors as having a one-to-one correspondence to the vertices of the hypercube in the 16th dimension. I saw a new supercomputer, and I saw it by visualizing 1,048,576 email wires as having a one-to-one correspondence to the bidirectional edges of the same hypercube. That hypercube's 2 to the power 16 vertices became 65,536 crossroads where the modern supercomputer that executes the world's fastest computations met the new internet that I experimentally discovered delivered the fastest electronic messages. I discovered that the computer wizard is the ordinary computer programmer that discovered his new supercomputer inside a new internet. The history of civilization is the history of technology. Who domesticated the first chicken? Who domesticated the first goat? Who rode the first horse? The names of ancient scientific pioneers are lost in the midst of time. Who solved the first quadratic equation? Who programmed the first ensemble of processors that led to the discovery of the modern supercomputer? Parallel processing, the technology that makes the new computer faster and makes the new supercomputer fastest, is the most important invention in the history of computer technology.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.